One of the many great things about Descendants 2 is that it has inspired fans of the film to come up with their own theories about it. Keep watching until the end when we'll give you a theory about the background of one particular character. If this is your first time visiting the Trendy, then it would be great if you could hit the subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. Today we're going to show you 10 Descendants 2 fan theories that are better than the original. Who is Uma's father? When Disney created the character of Uma for Descendants 2, they came up with a brilliant addition to the pantheon of great Disney villains. We all know her name. She tells us in a song. But with her villainous ways and her pirate crew, she's the character that we love to hate. We have to take our pirate hats off to China Anne McClain, who played her absolutely brilliantly. However, there is one question that we really do have to ask about her, and that is, who exactly is her father? However, there is a pretty interesting theory, and it was put forward by a Descendants 2 fan called Michiel K. They came up with a really clever idea, which we have to say we like a lot. Looking at Uma's ethnicity, Michiel K figured out that whoever Uma's dad was, he was going to be a human. He was going to be a villain, and he was going to be black. So he worked out that it had to be Dr. Facilier, the villain from The Princess and the Frog. To cap it all off, they pointed out that Freddie Facilier from the animated spin-off Descendants Wicked World is Lauren McClain, the half-sister of China Anne McClain, which would be an excellent bit of meta-continuity. We have to say that we really like this theory a lot. We'd like to see Freddie in Descendants 3 as well. Harry's mother. Perhaps one of the most popular new characters from Descendants 2 is Harry Hook. It seems that everyone has some kind of reaction to this young Scottish swashbuckler. Now, while we know who his father is, Captain James Hook from Peter Pan, we are a little bit clueless about who his mother is. However, there is a theory from the excellent Descendants Theory blog that it's a good one. And let's take a step back. According to the official Disney canon, Harry is the middle of 3 children. He has an elder sister, Harriet, and a younger sister, CJ. Harriet is only mentioned in the books, but we do know what CJ looks like because she made an appearance in the Descendants Wicked World cartoon. Now, if we look at CJ, that might give us a clue. She's blonde, and the thing about genetics is that one parent would have to be blonde. So we need to find a blonde female Disney villain who isn't explicitly mentioned as being alive in the movie, cartoon, or book. Going by that, there is only one person who it could be, and that is Helga Sinclair from Disney's 2001 film Atlantis: The Lost Empire. It all fits in because Helga has a maritime background, which means that there is a possibility that she ran into Captain James Hook on her travels. Evie's family. A lot of time when we're talking about Descendants 2 fan theories, they are just that, theories. However, there's something that we notice that kind of falls into the category of theories, but also falls into the category of something that is canonically true. And that is something about Evie's family. Now, we know that Evie's mother is the evil queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. While we don't know who her father is, there's a brilliant theory from movie pilot's Crystal Reel, that he's actually the magic mirror having taken a human form. But we aren't here to talk about that today. We're going to talk about something that is actually accurate, but we didn't realize until Reddit user Angrier wrote about it. Now, if Evie is the evil queen's daughter, then that might mean something. Can you guess what it is? That's right. It means that Evie is actually Snow White's stepsister. When we first realized this, it kind of blew our minds. Can you imagine what that might mean? Well, consider this. Snow White has never actually appeared in either of the 2 Descendants movies, which is a pretty big oversight when you consider that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was Disney's first full-length film. So maybe, just maybe, Evie will get to meet her famous stepsister in the upcoming Descendants 3. People in the background. Take a look at pretty much any movie or TV show and you will see that there will always be characters hanging around in the background. A lot of the time, these extras aren't really important. However, in the world of Descendants 2, it is worth bearing in mind that they actually might well be people that you know about. So we want to take a look at some of them and find out who it actually is that they are. There's one bit that's really good because you see all the characters together. We see Mal and Ben walking down a runway to be presented, and in the background, there are a range of characters. Now, they are all a little bit older than the main characters in the film, so it's safe to say that they are from the generation before them. And because of what Descendants 2 is about, then we, and the Descendants Theory website, think that they are the characters' parents. In fact, Disney has confirmed that 2 of them are Aladdin and Jasmine. But what about the others? Well, do you see the woman on the far left with the red hair? We think it's safe to say that that's Ariel from The Little Mermaid. And there's a couple who look African American, and we think that's Princess Tiana and King Naveen from The Princess and the Frog. How many others can you spot? Liv and Maddie and Mal. There is a theory that the world of TV and movies is a small one, and that people who are played by the same actor are either relatives of or actually are the same person. Sounds crazy, right? Well, there's a great theory that sprung up about the character of Mal, played by Dove Cameron. The first time a lot of us saw Dove was when she played both title roles in the Disney Channel's show Liv and Maddie. If you don't remember which one was which, well, Liv was a TV star whose show had recently ended, and Maddie was her twin sister who played basketball and was an outstanding student. But get this, if you remember back to Descendants, then you will remember that Mal was pretty villainous until Ben came along. Gave her the chance to live at Auradon and gave her some loving so that she could be who she really was. So the idea goes that Liv and Maddie are the two sides of Mal. When Twitter user DarkTrooper374 posted that he realized that the initials of Liv and Maddie, LAM, were Mal reversed, Dove even retweeted him. She said that she had 100% thought about it too. So, if we can say that Dove Cameron is a fan of Descendants too, which we can, then this is one fan theory from the very top. Why is Chad so awful, aka Jane's father? One thing we learned pretty quickly in both Descendants and Descendants 2 is that not everyone is as they seem. Sometimes, people who we expect to be nice are horrible, and people who we expect to be horrible are nice. One great example is Chad Charming. He's the son of Prince Charming and Cinderella. Now, to be fair to him, he's by no means the worst person in Auradon, but he is pretty annoying, and that shocked at least one fan of the franchise, Amanda Dalala. This is what gave her an idea, which linked in with another character's backstory. That character is Jane. She's the daughter of the fairy godmother from Cinderella. Or is she? You see, this fan had a pretty crazy theory, but it's a good sort of crazy. So we'll tell you all about it. The idea is that because there's a pretty big age gap between the godmother and Cinderella, it seems weird that their kids are the same age. But what if the fairy godmother made a deal with Cinderella in return for helping her? The idea goes that she asked Cinderella to give her her firstborn child. Cinderella ended up having twins, and the first one to come out was Jane, leaving her and the prince to bring up Chad all alone. It's a pretty cool idea, but it doesn't really explain why Chad, who we want to see in Descendants 3, is the way he is though. Gil's mother. It can be a lot of fun to work out things when it comes to figuring out who the parents of the characters in Descendants 2 are. One of the more fun ones that we found is trying to guess the mother of Gil. If you can't remember who Gil is, he's one of the main bad guys in the film. He's part of Ursula's gang of pirates along with Harry Hook. Now, we know that his father is Gaston, the slimy and horrible villain from Beauty and the Beast, but like so many of the characters in the Descendants franchise, the identity of his mother is rather unclear. But there is a pretty good theory from the Descendants Theory blog, which we're going to tell you all about. Now, because Gaston is so awful, it's felt that no villain would actually want to be with him. But if you see Beauty and the Beast, you'll know there are characters who do want to be with Gaston, and they are the so-called silly girls. There are 3 of them, and while they aren't named in the movie, Disney has confirmed their names are Claudette, Laurette, and Paulette. Now, we're going to look at Laurette, who is the one who wears yellow. But guess who else wears yellow? That's right, Gil. So we think that it's likely that somehow Laurette ended up on the Isle of the Lost with Gaston. Gil and Harry together? In the run-up to Descendants 2 coming out, there was one photo that got a lot of attention on A, it was of what looked like Thomas Docherty, aka Harry Hook, and Dylan Playfair, aka Gil, kissing. This certainly got people interested and sparked some interesting theories. We wondered whether it might mean that we would, for the first time, see an official gay couple in a Disney movie. Bear in mind that when the photo came out, we hadn't yet met either Harry or Gil, so there was a lot of speculation about who they were. The other idea people had was that Thomas had broken up with Dove Cameron and was now dating Dylan. However, we will admit that we were a tiny bit surprised when the kiss didn't happen during the movie. When people who saw the photo saw the movie, they wondered whether the studio had thought a kiss between 2 male characters would be a bit too controversial, so they edited it out at the last minute. However, there was a real genuine reason why the kiss between Harry and Gil never made it into the film, and that's because it was never in the script. But here's the crazy thing, in the novelization of the movie, Gil and Harry do kiss. So here's a new theory. Perhaps something might develop between Gaston's son and James Hook's son in Descendants 3. Or maybe they were together in Descendants 2, and we just didn't see it. What did Yuma mean? At the end of Descendants 2, Yuma turns to the camera, breaks the fourth wall, and asks the audience whether they really thought that was the end of the story. It was a bit surprising, and it's unclear what it meant. We think and hope this means that there will be a third film, but we can't be 100% sure. Even the cast didn't know that this line was going to make its way into the movie. In fact, China Anne McClain, who played Yuma, said she was surprised as well as honored when she was asked to say the line. It wasn't in the original script, so we wonder if there could possibly be another meaning. However, while director Kenny Ortega hasn't directly addressed Uma's final lines, he has said some pretty interesting things. He said that while he had not officially done anything to get work going, he did have some ideas about what new characters he would introduce and what he would like to do with them. However, he also says he doesn't know if there is going to be a Descendants 3. He said that any decision would be based on how the fans responded to Descendants 2, so we're going to have to ask very nicely for Descendants 3, and then hope the theory that it will all happen is true. Jane's father. Sometimes the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, and that isn't really true about most of the characters in Descendants 2 though. That's because while their parents are villains, these guys from the Isle of the Lost are pretty good people. However, there's one great example where it is true, and that example is Jane, who's the daughter of the fairy godmother from Cinderella. She's good, helpful, and friendly. We don't want to give any spoilers away here in case you haven't seen the film, which you definitely should, but she really comes to the rescue at one point. However, we only know the identity of one of her parents, but that's okay, because there are clues about her father's identity according to the geniuses behind the Descendants Theory blog. First off, characters in Descendants 2 usually have a name that hints at their parents. So we're looking for somebody from the Disney universe who has a name starting with J. That leaves us with two pretty good options. Firstly, there's Jacques, who's the mouse from Cinderella. What you might not know is that in Cinderella 2, Jacques gets turned into a human, and then back into a mouse. So there's no reason to think he might not have been made human again. And the other possibility is that it's Duke from Cinderella, because we don't know his name. It's possible that it begins with a J. Either way, it's a great theory, but we wondered whether there were any fan theories that we'd missed. If so, don't be shy and tell us all about your theories in the comments below. And that's all for our 10 Descendants 2 fan theories that are better than the original. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.